Hello developers, welcome to my video series on Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on workflow. Today we are going to learn about sound files. The sound and sound AI folders are right next to the model folders. They will contain sound or sound AI config files or possibly sound AI XML files. Sound folder contains the sound files used when the aircraft is selected. So all of the sounds that you find, the engine sounds, the switch clicking sounds, are all there. The sound AI or sound config files are a stripped down set of the sound files when the aircraft is used as AI, like flown by the sim and not by the user. The AI aircraft are all the other aircraft that are flying around you. Sometimes you hear them make radio calls, sometimes you see them flying next to you, or they're taxiing next to you at the airport. This will only be an overview. We will learn about setting up the sounds in an episode where we're actually building an add-on aircraft and not just the samples. There are three ways that sounds are set up in the sim. There are legacy sounds, there's wave data sounds, and voice data sounds. Sounds are a very important part of the immersion feature in the sim. Unfortunately, it's difficult and expensive to make your own sounds. You need sound recording equipment and then access to an actual aircraft to make those sounds and record those sounds. It's too bad because they have a lot of samples in the W. Weiss projects for you to learn from. And if you're lucky enough to have access to the equipment and an aircraft, by all means, take that opportunity. Legacy sounds are just that, FSX Legacy or Prepare 3D. So if you're familiar with these sounds, they're all basically wave files. So the information in the sound file is like this, where you have wave files, you have a sound config file, and that sound config file looks like this. This is a legacy way of doing things, and it's been deprecated in the sim for the second way of doing things, which is the wave data version. So you can use the wave data version instead of the legacy sounds, and that'll be similar to what you have today. The only difference would be that instead of a sound config file, you'll have a sound XML file, but you'll still have all the wave files in your sim add-on. The wave data version uses one term in the XML where Weiss data equals false instead of Weiss data equals true when you're using the WWise version. The wave data sounds are a step closer to the WWise data way of setting up sounds. They can use a combination of legacy sound config files and the wave data sound XML files if you choose that. The sound XML files used, you guessed it, XML to trigger the sounds. So a version of the sound XML file, and you could make the sounds use any sounds that you have in a wave configuration. So if you happen to have a couple of wave files, you can use the sound XML and incorporate that with Weiss data equals false. When you do that, you have a combination of the legacy way of doing things with wave files compared to the new way. Again, there are no wave data samples for the sounds, and none of the default Asobo aircraft use that either. So you'll have to try to find something out there that may use it, if not. Otherwise, it's basically the sound information with this one attribute set to false. With the WICE data, the third option will require you to download the WICE data program to compile all your sound files in what's called a package file. So the PCK file is a sound package file that will take all your WAV files and incorporate them into one sound file that's all packaged up. You'll then use the same XML information, except the WICE data will be true this time. And so all of the information that you're going to use to get your sound going, there's a little bit more available to you, and that's all available in the SDK documentation. So the SDK documentation explains in detail how to use the sound packs in the WICE program. It's a very complicated subject. I don't know a lot about making sounds other than you need sound equipment and a real aircraft to record the sounds. And most devs just use the sounds in the default aircraft that are already there that sound like your aircraft. So if your aircraft has a Lycoming engine, why not just use the Cessna 172 sound pack? So smaller aircraft use general aviation sound packs. Larger airlines would use an airline sound pack. So there are a number of spots in the SDK documentation. There are sounds information here for legacy wave data information. Then there's a whole large section here on how to use the new way of making sounds for your aircraft. And there you have it, a simple overview of the sound config and sound XML files for sim objects. Legacy, wave data, WICE, data sounds, and setups. I will have a detailed episode on wave data sounds and how to set them up, but I won't be able to show you how to do the WICE data ones. That one you'll have to figure out by yourself. In our next episode, we'll talk about the VFS, which is called the Virtual File System, and why it's important to know and understand how it works. Good luck, and see you next time.